Welcome to Return on Insights, the show where candid conversations with bold founders and leaders spark actionable insights for your business. I'm David Lindover.
And I'm Erin Abatangelo. Every week, we pull back the curtain with leaders who are scaling teams and shaping the future, sharing the insights that create impact far beyond the bottom line.
Discover how high-performing companies build enduring cultures, inspire teams to think bigger, and turn vision into action. If you see storytelling as your strategic advantage, you're in the right place. Welcome to Return on Insights podcast, where we unpack actionable tech strategies from innovators shaping tomorrow. After pivoting Hubaix from Amazon e-commerce scaling teams to AI-powered SaaS MVPs and launching Converex for voice-driven appointment booking, I'm thrilled to spotlight CEO Hunain Siraj Barkati on dodging no-code traps and staying ahead in rapid AI evolution. I'm David Lindover, your host for today's show. Welcome, Hunain. Nice to have you here.
Thanks for inviting me, David. It's great talking to you.
So I'm going to shine the spotlight on you, Hunain, and I've got some questions for you and looking forward to your answers. First off, what unscalable pitfalls in Amazon's ecosystem forced your company to shift to AI, and how did the ChatGPT catalyze that pivot for you?
Okay, so we were doing Amazon for a couple of years and we scaled a lot of brands over there, but we were facing the same problem again and again. And that was anytime we tried to launch a product that had massive scale or some sort of evident scale, Amazon would launch some of its own product category or product in that. And because Amazon has its end-to-end infrastructure, so you can't compete with a platform that is also competing with you on the product level because they own the entire life cycle, right? An entire supply chain. So competing that would always become a scalable. Scaling that would always become a trap, and we couldn't do that. We tried that with a lot of brands. And then we were trying to pivot and we were trying to experiment different things. And then suddenly there was that one when ChatGPT launched, the whole internet was stuffed with tech everywhere. You could hear ChatGPT. So we just opened it and tried exploring what exactly is ChatGPT. And when we started exploring it, this was a game changer. And at the exact moment we knew that, okay, this is the thing that will change each and every industry and the way workflows operate throughout industries and globally. So we thought that, okay, this is where we have to be and what we have to capitalize on if we want to scale and become a global brand. So this was the main thing.
So how does your company Hubaix differentiate by exclusively targeting AI SaaS founders over being a generalist agency?
Okay, so as we all already mentioned that we are also have a Converex as a company which has a SaaS offering for different brands. So our vision was always to work with SaaS and SaaS founders. But there was one thing that because we were starting out late, after 2020, after the ChatGPT era, so the biggest problem was that there were a lot of competition in the market, and we understand that we have to do something so good and we have to specialize in something that what we offer, we should be the best provider or at least one of the best providers in that niche. So when we were starting out, AI and AI-based solutions were new for each and every company out there. So we knew that we have to do something with AI. So we said, okay, we left off all the low-bearing fruits. We could easily do mobile apps, web apps, but we know that we won't be specializing in that and we would just become another generic agency. We did not want to become that. We wanted to become the most specialized agency who AI founders could work with. They could come to us with an idea and we could help them transform that idea into a real product with real users and with real paying customers that would scale to becoming one of the top companies throughout the world.
So what are the top go-to-market bottlenecks for these SaaS companies at 100 plus users? And how do you engineer the solutions in full cycle MVPs?
Okay, so one thing that most founders don't understand is that when they are starting out, so there are completely different architectures in play. When you are just starting out, you want to build an MVP, and when you are passed through the MVP stage and you already have your first hundreds users. So these are two totally different stages. We work with these two stages, and then there is one third stage which we don't cater to right now, which is like dealing with one of the very top tier companies who are like Fortune 500 companies or like bigger enterprise. We don't deal with those. We deal with these two categories of founders. One who are like starting out right now, they have an idea and they want to convert their idea into an MVP. And the second is who have already launched into the market. They have got initial users. So this pivot is very extremely crucial, and most founders don't understand it. Like at the time of building an MVP, it's pretty simple. Like you have to like launch your most core features out into the market, get your product into the hands of your customers, and then start like pivot every day, every week. You have to like calibrate that, okay, how will this work, how will this not work. You have to talk to customers, but once you have your initial set of 100 customers, then the challenge is like building an architecture so strong that it can stand and it can handle those incoming customers, because at that point you would be investing tons of budgets and tons of bucks into marketing and ad spend, and you might be getting press coverage. So this is your make or break moment. Like if you don't capitalize at this right moment, you are like totally done for. Like you will lose your initial hype, you will lose your initial customers. So right now it's very crucial that founders understand that, okay, now we have to invest in better DevOps infrastructure, in better cloud infrastructure, and adopt strategies which could then create a bigger moat for the product. You initially could even start with building a wrapper, but as you go on, you have to invest in building your own AI-based architectures. You have to invest in your own model trainings and all those, so that over the longer run, you are not. If ChatGPT launches a new update, it's not that your business is done for, right? We heard a lot of companies getting just washed away when ChatGPT launched its GPT-5. Because what happened? Because they were just building as wrappers and they were not ready to scale. And when ChatGPT launched a better version and they hadn't invested in the architecture, so in an infrastructure, so they were just washed out. So this is one thing that founders need to understand very carefully.
Very good point. From your engineering lens, what's the risk of no-code tools commoditizing simple apps? And how do complex integrations protect the value?
Yeah, so no code tools are a very good thing to start right now. Vibe coding, apps like Lovable, Replit, all these are like doing excellent stuff if you want to build something very fast. But as I mentioned earlier, that as you scale on, as you get more users on board, these no code tools, the solution that they have built, you cannot rely on these solutions for a longer run. You have to build and like adopt architectures and tech architectures where you become the like core product. You like have to build your product in a way that it's not anything that someone can copy by investing 2 weeks into vibe coding project. You have to differentiate every edge case. You have to specialize on it. Every UI you have to think like and the lens of your user. You have to become so obsessed with your users. Only then in this era where vibe coding and like these tools are may have made development so fast, you can survive. If you don't build tools that, let's say, if you don't build a product which your customers are seriously obsessed with, you will end up making another generic wrapper, which will definitely be washed out in very, very quickly. Right now, the conversion cycle, like initially, if you the creation of an app would generally take several months, and once you launched, there were another several months for competitors to copy your thing. But right now, with tools like Cursor, backend has become so fast, backend development, front-end development has become so fast with all these Replit and all these tools. So right now, competitors can copy your idea in less than a week if they have good teams. So now speed is of utmost thing, and you have to be sure that, okay, you are also building it at good speed, but together with that, you're also not sacrificing on the product quality, on the UI, on the features. So it's like you have to do it wholeheartedly. Now side gigs are totally gone in the SaaS industry.
Man, that's a tough task. How has building remote AI teams in Pakistan, which is where you're from, unlocked speed for US and Middle East clients that you have?
Okay, so speed right now, when AI is like transforming everything, every new day we see tons of new products coming out into the market. Right now, if you are not building at speed, you won't even survive the next quarter. It's very hard to say that as a SaaS founder, if you aren't doing things at very good speed, you can't survive. So before that, it was very easy because you could hire an engineering team and build slowly and gradually, and competitors would take months or sometimes years to cope up. But right now, speed is the most crucial factor, and speed to market of new features is something that could like totally change how your company's structure would look like around in the next quarter. Like right now, you can't think of 10 years down the lane. You have to think every quarter, you have to survive every quarter, and you have to build every quarter. Then you can like only become a company, a SaaS based company that totally changes what AI has the potential to change. But you, if whether you would be the one, or your SaaS startup would be the one that would revolutionize your niche, that depends on your speed to market.
Not for the faint of heart, I mean. What's one lesson from helping founders secure funding via MVPs that most founders that you've run into overlook?
Okay, so the most important factor, whenever someone is building an MVP, I try to talk to them, and they are like, okay, we have these three competitors and we have this idea and we want these 200 features into our product and then we will launch. And so they are like, founders are generally thinking of too many things at the wrong time. Right now, your core focus has to be before fundraising, because now when initially if you just build a product, if you had an idea, you build some POC, you could go to an investor and he would give you a couple of thousands of bucks or hundreds of thousands of dollars, and those hundreds of thousands of dollars would then convert that into equity and you could scale on that. But right now investors understand that, okay, now anyone could wipe code. So investors value customers. So if your SaaS startup does not have your initial customers, you won't be getting investors. And again, back to my initial point of speed. If you don't build it quickly, maybe 2 weeks down the lane, someone else has built that idea, has secured the early users, and now they are moving on and like talking to the investors that you were targeting for. So speed is something that we as a company to help. And you asked initially in the question that how we help as Pakistani founders. So this is the thing. Speed initially, how do you hire? If you are in Silicon Valley, you have an idea and you want to implement that idea. So it would take several months to get the right engineering team. And not even the right engineering team, right? Hiring even one engineer becomes a task of several of months. Recruiting the right engineer and getting them to stay with you as a startup, because good engineers are like sitting in like the Magnificent Seven and they have like all sorts of good perks. So there is very less incentive for them to leave those companies, those very highly established companies. So the only best way I believe right now is that you have to capitalize and use the offshore talent which you can get at a fraction of the cost. And companies like Hubaix, we also help in this thing, and there are a lot of other companies. But right now, as speed is the most crucial thing, I think founders must understand is that you can't sit and like spend the next 6 months hiring one or two engineering team members and then you can expect that okay, you will raise funding and all those things. Those are the days of the past. After AI, everything is revolutionizing, and you have to make every decision in a way that capitalizes for speed, leverages speed, and you have to build very fast. Only then you can stand out.
That's a good way to end it, Hunain. I really appreciate that. Good advice for our audience. I look forward to speaking to you again in the future. Thanks for your time today.
It's great talking to you, David. Thanks.